right, okay, let's start the session by doing a round introduction. So I'm Jeff from Mars3, and I'm the community manager. So let's do it this way. I'll start from Shubham.
So I'm the head of ecosystem at Manta. Before that, I've been working with other layer tools like Mantle, Polygon, and majorly I was focused on the gaming side. Recently I've moved to head of ecosystem and handling the DeFi part. Talking about Manta, Manta is a layer 2 solution on Ethereum. We are EVM compatible chain right now. Soon moving from OP stack to ZK with the help of CDKs. Right now we are the third largest chain based on TVL. That's around 1.9 billion. Yep, recently we launched a token and everything is good for Manta right now. Looking for some more projects in Denver. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hey, I'm QDK. I'm a senior R&D engineer at Avail. So as you guys might know, Avail is building to accelerate the unification of Web3. Our main product till now has been Avail DA, but we're also expanding towards Avail Nexus, which is an unification layer for rollups, as well as Avail Fusion, which is going to be a shared security layer for those Avail Nexus rollups. So we're excited to have our mainnet coming out soon, and also the other stuff. So let's talk about that soon.
Okay, so sorry, is it Huitic? Like how do you pronounce it?
You can say it any way you want. I say it like QEDK. Some people call me just Q. Anything's fine.
Ah, okay, Q. That's easy. Easy.
I'm Darren, currently exploring new things, but previously worked at Penumbra Labs. I was building a ZK blockchain for private trading. It's in the interchain ecosystem. You can take any IBC compatible asset, shield it on the Penumbra chain, and privately swap and transfer it. So yeah, really interested in ZK and DA right now.
Cool. Okay, starting from the first question for Shubham. So Manta has been doing very well. Like you guys just launched your token, and now one of the biggest TVL. And see, you guys went about open DeFi law, and on top of using Celestia as your DN, you guys are also utilizing ZK now. And so, can you tell me more about ZK part, pros and cons, and if you face any challenges during the integration?
So it's quite simple for us, to be honest. Manta back started in 2020, and that was a kind of like privacy layer. So that's the reason our major focus on it is on the ZK side. Talking more about it, like right now we are using OpenStack, but how we are shifting to ZK is with the help of CDKs or Polygon. So definitely the tech stack and everything will be done by them. Currently, even our major focus is on the ecosystem side, and even like I'm not from the technical background, I'm from the non-technical, and I'm majorly focused on the growing the ecosystem. That's how like we go to the TVL, which we have right now. So what we do is like we focus on the technology providers instead of like building the whole technology by ourselves. Just like on OpenStack is helping us. On the rollups as a service, Caldera is helping us. Once we shift to CDK, then Polygon will be helping us, and there will be some other stuff as well, like who will be helping us with the ZK technology. So that's how like we cater the like ecosystem, and I think like that's how even we focus on right now. So for example, right now, as you mentioned, you saw us on DeFi Llama. Yeah. So when you click on Manta Network, you saw a lot of projects down there, right? So right now, if you see, only like big TVL holders are lending protocols. We recently started with Celestia and stuff. So that's the reason I think like we want more DeFi projects who can divide this bigger TVL between them. And we have more and more projects right now. I think it's around 228 projects already live on like mainnet Pacific, but we expect to grow well after this token and stuff.
Cool. So following on up on that question, is Manta like doing any specific aiming for any specific region, say DeFi or social fi? Are you looking for any type of like target that you're trying to do?
Oh, so actually this is quite interesting. So we are a generic purpose chain, but we started in September. Like we launched our mainnet in September,
okay.
And till now it's around 7 to 8 months. And we are like one of the third largest chain. And because like our target was quite clear, we require initial TVL and transaction volume, which will bring through DeFi projects rather than gaming. Because in gaming, I've seen one thing like when I was working for them. So whenever you have incentive program, people come, play the game, they get the incentive and they just run out.
Yeah.
So we
That's
don't
how it
want
is.
that thing. So that was the reason I thought majorly focused on the DeFi. Specifically, we were focused on the lending protocol because when you go to L2 beats or maybe when you go to DeFi Llama, the first thing which you see is like TVL, not the transaction volume. Because if you go to Explorer, then you see the transaction volume.
Yeah.
So that was the reason I thought maybe focus on lending because we didn't have the tokens that time. So now it will be more on the LSPs and stuff because that's the new narrative. I think like for LST, even I'm not quite sure about it because it's a kind of layer and stuff.
Yeah.
But still, it's a narrative and we need to focus on that because else we'll be like on the backside of the these new trends. Yep.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was going
Go
to
on,
ask,
go on, yeah.
you mentioned like Manta is planning on transitioning to like a CDK. Like, will Manta also be using like the aggregation layer and other things that Polygon has recently announced?
Oh no, so actually application layer has recently started. So we were the first one who started using Celestia and we are the first one from OP side, like on this thing, we will be the first one who will be using Polygon CDK. So even when the mainnet was not like we had already planned, like we'll go to like Polygon CDK and shift to ZK EVM. So right now only Polygon is the one because Arbitrum have their own thing and I think Optimism have their, I don't remember the names, like there is a chain.
Super chain?
Super chain, yeah.
Yeah.
So they have that, but they are not on the ZK side. So
Right.
we need to prove that we are a modular chain. So that's the reason we also need to shift from OP to ZK.
Makes sense.
Okay. So also, Shubham, another question for you. What do you think that? What would you say that will make Manta stand out of like differentiate yourself from other like chains?
Cool. So it's quite simple. Like we have always been focused on the ZK side, but I don't think like it's more like we just focus on ZK or stuff. My major focus, like not just Manta, but my focus as a head of ecosystem, my focus will be majorly to grab attention of particular DeFi category or channels. Like for example, if I talk about gaming, so first just go with the MMO or maybe AAA game. First we have 2 to 3 bigger games on Manta, then all the small games will come. I don't care about like really small games, but yeah. And same with the DeFi protocols as well. Like once, even yeah, there is one thing over here. So if you
We're live though.
oh, okay, cool.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So, it's cool actually. It's our strategy, that's it. Apart from that, like right now on the DeFi side or any other side specifically, I think my major focus will be getting more projects who can bring more volume. So I don't want big tier 1 projects to be honest. Like if we see any big chain, like I've been working with Mantle, Polygon and stuff, they have Uniswap, they have big memes. And if I've been using Uniswap since 2021, so I would use that on Polygon instead of Mantle or any other chain because I've been adapted to that ecosystem. So that's the reason I don't want a tier 1, like I want it for a brand and marketing purpose. I don't want it for the transaction volume because I think tier 2 projects or tier 3 projects who can be native to Manta and they can build something and they can grow more because once you come to them, you use them, you like their UI UX, you stick to them and that's how like you will bring more value to Manta. And say suppose if they go multi-chain in future but you will still stick to Manta because you have already adopted it. So that's the strategy right now.
Okay, so basic to make it sticky for the users.
Yeah, that's the only reason because I think like if he's also ex-Polygon. So we know that there are a lot of chains right now in layer 2. Like say suppose 10 chains, the market is around 100 users. So every chain is trying to get that 100 users to their like chain and say suppose right now there can be another EVM layer 2 and they can just get that like users with the help of incentives and stuff, right? So we don't want to do that thing. So we just want to cater more audience or maybe just get them sticky to our like interface or maybe users. So that tab so that they can just be on Manta and they can just use Manta, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So next question is for Q. So there's Avail DA and there's also Eigen DA, there's Celestia. What do you say that makes Avail DA stands out?
Great question. Definitely, I think we worked very hard to develop our validity proof based DLR. So that means is that we kind of verify KZG polynomial commitments after each block for finalization as well as for block building. And then again, if you run a light client, then you can kind of technically verify it yourself. So that's kind of what we want to do, right? We want to scale unification of Web3 and rollups, but not just using any tech, but rather the most cutting edge tech out there. So we kind of allow rollups to kind of build in a trust minimized way. So like if let's say you're building a sovereign rollup, you run a light client and then you embed that in your node, and technically you can verify from the polynomial commitments alone that the data was actually there and that the correct data was there. So that's kind of our main selling point, and also the fact that we take advantage of substrate. So the layers, like we already know that substrate is quite modular and performant. Like currently we are thinking of around 2 MB of blob space per block, but we have internally tested up to 128 MB of blob space per block, and that's every 20 seconds. And this is like already something that we've tested with the technologies we have today. We even have things in the works to kind of take that even further. So like let's say today we have hundreds or thousands of light clients, right? That is kind of enough to verify a single block within the particular block time period. The more LCs there are, the more is the DHT put rate and the get rate, which basically means that you can kind of verify blocks that much faster. So this is like a super linear scale, right? Where as more rollups come and use Avail DA, as more RAS providers come and use DA, and as their customers start using our light clients, the performance will keep getting better. And that's sort of what we are building at Avail, and that sort of differentiates us with every other DA platform today.
Okay, so then if I'm a developer, how would you recommend like I choose from different DAs?
That was my question.
It's a great question. I mean, the way that I see it is that as a roll-up developer or like any developer at scale, right, it's your job to take all of the hard decisions for the user. So the user should like never have to give a shit like what the roll-up is doing. That's sort of the biggest deal. So it's the developer that kind of has to understand the trade-offs that he's making. So like for example, we have Manta that's using Celestia DA with Caldera. I think Caldera is the RAS provider. Of course, there's something wrong or right with that. It's a business decision. It's a technical decision. But if I'm going to be honest, like I think we have the most cutting-edge technological solution out there as the DLA.
Okay.
Can I follow up on that? So is the validity proof for, like, on the Avail side that there's a validity proof that data has been published and you can then reconstruct your blocks based on that?
Yes, so you basically, I guess you could do two things. One is you can regenerate the KZG polynomial commitments. So that's of course a straightforward way that validators do it today. Or the other way is to verify the polynomial commitment validity proof. That also you can do as a validator, which will kind of move towards to make it more efficient and scalable. But the main important fact is that the light clients can do that, which means that roll-up operators that kind of leverage the light client, they can do that in a trust minimized way. And the reason is that you do not trust Avail full nodes or Avail validator nodes to get all of the DHT cells where we store the data, right? You can rely on other light clients, which anyone can run.
Right. And so I guess two questions. Like one, what are the proving times right now for the validity proofs? And then two, 2 megabytes per block seems like relatively low. So like, what are your plans for like scaling that?
Definitely, great questions there. So I think we target around 4 seconds right now, and that's like block building time, which includes the KZG proving time. That's probably not going to be more than 2 or 3. I mean, technically we need to have a higher overhead for latency as a whole. And there are ways to get around that, but like as I said, one of them is that we do not regenerate the commitment, but we just verify them. But that's probably for later. And that's sort of where we also get the 128 MB number, right? 2 MB is just like a safe number that we've chosen for mainnet. But as I said, like with that stack that we have today, that number is already, we have tested to be 128. And what we'll do is after mainnet, we kind of have proposals to governance that increase that number in stages.
Very cool.
Okay. Coming to our final question. It's a kind of big question. So our title for this session, this Open Information House is Open Information. So what is open information or what is open web to you guys? You guys need a minute?
No. So actually open information. So like just to give you my background, like before joining Web3 ecosystem, I was working for like banking, financial sector in India. So I was working for government at that time. So the major thing, like not open information that time. So that's how bank and usually financial sector work previously is like I used to give NPA loans to all the people who can't pay back for it. So that was how like the centralized system worked, and that's how I came to decentralized. So to be honest, that was not the major motive, but also I was loving the technology, and I was part of gaming ecosystem. I loved that as well, like how you can earn something out of it. So after that, I came to know like from that time I was like quite aware about like Manta and what privacy chains are doing. Apart from that, but I couldn't work with them. After that, I came to know more about the open information, like how the like blockchain works and how I can check the data on chain and stuff. So that was the another thing. But right now, with the help of ZK, you can check, prove the data, but even without disclosing the information. So that's the major thing, and I think that can be the major, like next good plan for Manta to work with some IDs, to work with some ZK proofs where we can validate information from other chains and even from the other ecosystems.
Great, thank you. Love it.
Yeah, I think it's a nostalgic question for me. I'm still part of Wikimedia, but I was actually I used to be with the free and open source community for Wikimedia on the technical side, especially for a long time before I joined Polygon.
That's cool.
So like open information was sort of the ethos of Wikimedia as a whole. And then, like we're also very closely linked with Mozilla Foundation and Creative Commons there. So for a long time, it's like basically building the free encyclopedia for everyone. That's kind of what I did. Then I moved from the tech side, but at Polygon as well, I think there was a distinct vision that we had that, and it's us on the smart contracts team, the core protocol team, right? Like all of the work that we're going to put out, it is inherently free and open source. So it's either MIT or it's either Apache licensed, and we kind of carried over that ethos to Avail as well. So eventually we'll be launching the vector bridge, for example. We'll be launching the node as well, and all of that will be, of course, licensed and fully available to the public. And I don't mean it in the term of source available. I mean it in the term that it will be actually free and open source software. So people are choose to fork it at will. People are choose to use it at will. Of course, as long as they give due credit. That's how the licenses work. But yeah, that's definitely a big deal for us. Like I think building in public is something that I have always personally believed in. So yeah, I think that's sort of the direction that we've always been focused in.
Well, that's awesome. You not just said it, you did it. Yeah.
This isn't specific to like open information necessarily, but Chris Goes had a really nice framing. Chris Goes from Anoma of what he would like to see, kind of what he's trying to build towards, and he framed it as one, sovereignty, and two, interoperability, and how often we make these trade-offs between, oh, we're going to make this sovereign thing, but that thing cannot necessarily interoperate well with the greater system, and whether that be money, like the US dollar, if you use the US dollar, you lose your sovereignty over who can issue that. But if you choose to use your local currency, it's not as interoperable with the rest of the system. And the goal of building these systems to integrate both in a seamless way that lets people to maintain their sovereignty, the ability to coordinate, ability to determine value on their own terms, as well as the ability to interoperate with a much wider network.
Cool. So basically, it's like a trade-off for you?
No, it's like trying to unbundle that trade-off to pursue both as expressively as possible.
Awesome. All right. Do we have any questions from the audience? Any comments? Okay. Thank you guys for the session.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.